Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Jack Ryan Ghost War, starring John Krasinski, Wendell Pierce, Sienna Miller, Michael Kelly, Max Beasley, Betty Gabriel, J.J. Field, Douglas Hodge, Adam Burnett, Dominic Maffham, and Alex Brockdorf, and directed by Andrew Bernstein. Now, before I get into this, welcome back to Jack Ryan. As like the last movie, Without Remorse, it's available on Amazon Prime, and you can see it from there. And will this be an improvement over Without Remorse? Let's just get into this movie and find out. And before I get into it, I have seen the Jack Ryan TV show with John Krasinski in it. That's why I'm not going to do that series, because I have seen him, but it's a TV show on Amazon Prime, and it's a sequel to that. So let's just get into the movie. We start in Dubai, UAE, with a couple of agents in danger, and Liam Crown, played by Max Beasley, kills them all up as he's the bad guy in this movie and blocks Nigel Cook, played by Douglas Hodge. And this opening scene was the bad guy went absolutely nowhere for me, as we move on to New York City, where Jack Ryan, played this time by John Krasinski from the TV show on Amazon Prime, takes a jog while James Greer, played by Wendell Pierce, who was Perry White in James Gunn's Superman, interrupts Jack's day, and he asks Jack to visit Dubai along with Mike November, played by Michael Kelly, to meet with Nigel to get some information. And I don't like the characters in this world, as I didn't like them on the TV show either, but here they come off rather pretentious. Mike gets on the plane in first class with Jack while it's his first time, and takes 2 glasses of champagne, which seems rather off because I've flown first class before, despite it's been a little over 20 years. But if you're handed champagne, you should only take 1, not 2. But Mike gets 2 rather unnecessarily, and the plot gives me such a hard time following what the fuck is going on throughout, as I had a little trouble following this movie because it makes no sense. As they get to Dubai, and Jack has a meeting with some coworkers and does the mission for Greer, as it goes horribly wrong, starting with Mike looking right at Jack while on the radio, which is a dead giveaway. Meanwhile, Nigel encounters Jack with a knife, wondering where the fuck is Greer. Until Emma Marlowe from the MI6, played by Sienna Miller, gets involved and takes Jack and Mike hostage after letting the killer go with Nigel, while Nigel gets killed. And the shots are completely terrible, as they're moving the camera quite constant, and I can't follow the movie at this point in time. Greer waits rather impatiently for a phone call from Jack and Mike until he gets a file from FedEx, as he gets a call from Liam saying Nigel trying to shut it down and to stay out of his way, and Jack and Mike get held by Emma, who's in the MI6. She lets Jack go to make a proposition for him, while she has a photograph of Greer back in the military, in which he was from what I remember from the TV show somehow. And Jack, Mike, and Emma team up and go to the MI6 office in London by plane and ride in different cars, while Emma ghosted the MI6 while on the mission in Dubai. Well, the dialogue was completely clunky, as the acting was super corny. Jack meets with Greer at the MI6 office and has rather some harsh words with each other because Greer doesn't tell him everything, and Jack gets pissed off about it, while Emma listens, which is super creepy to her to do so. And this conversation scene was acted dreadfully, and the relationship between each character was poorly done by the actors. And next thing you know, Jack goes on a meeting with the MI6 to explain who Liam is and what he's done while he's an international terrorist. And Greer calls Elizabeth Wright, played by Betty Gabriel, whom I reviewed before, and I know her as a horror actress from The Purge election year and Jordan Peele's Get Out, to ask her to get to London for emergency purposes. And this character was in the TV show, being played by the same actress, and she was great in Get Out, but here she pulls off rather a lousy performance from the start till she gets killed later in the movie. Jack and Emma talk and get to know each other, while Mike is watching and following someone whom I couldn't tell you who the fuck it was. While Elizabeth arrives in London and Mike gets into a chase with the bad guy, and get into an apartment and with a mess while Jack is on the phone and Greer and Emma on the phone with her boss, and they both learn it was a setup, and the bad guy almost blows up Greer, but gets Elizabeth blown up for what little she did in this movie. I liked her better in the horror stuff with than here in this world, as the storytelling failed to make at making me understand what the hell is going on with some terrible editing choices. Jack, Emma, and Mike go super fast to find Greer while he's on the run from Liam and the bad guys while on the streets of London, as Liam tries to walk away from the situation, but Greer has him until some more cars come by to let Liam get away, and Greer can't shoot him at any further until Jack, Emma, and Mike get him in the van and saves his life, like have a burial funeral for Elizabeth. And Jack and Greer find a way to come up with capturing Liam, and I found myself utterly bored, and I can't expect boring from a Jack Ryan movie, as this succeeded. Greer meets with Liam and asks him what does he want, and Liam explains his evil plan until Jack, Mike, and Emma walk in, and after they go their separate ways, Jack bought them more time, and Emma goes to a bar and rents a room for her and Jack, and which nobody knows about, and they make themselves comfortable as they play a little music, and this is a romance I don't want to see happening at this point, even though they're co-workers, because they have no chemistry whatsoever. Greer and the MI6 bosses get a call from Jack and Emma about a server, and next day comes as they go over a plan to get Liam, and it begins with Emma giving Jack a motorcycle ride to where Liam is at, and Greer arrives there a few minutes later and gets on a plane with Mike, and I just don't understand this plot nor this movie, as they take off from the ground and Liam gets a call about how things will go badly for him, and I just gave up on recognizing who these people are as they arrive in Dubai once more. And when I first saw this movie, I was falling asleep, as this is a snooze fest, and I can't believe a Jack Ryan movie made me doze off like the way I did with this movie. The shootout begins with Emma almost falling to her death, but is saved by Jack while having a shootout, and this action scene was as well as the other action scenes didn't thrill me, while Jack has a colleague on the phone to help him defeat Liam, as they have a continuous shootout, which bored me to death, where grenades blow up, blah blah fucking blah, as they see Liam's plan for the world, while Emma walks away while getting shot at, and Greer is on the air with Mike. And so far, the climax feels endless, with Liam beating up on Emma, and she gets shot, and Jack saves her once again by wounding Liam and killing him, and by shooting him in the head, and go their separate ways. And we end on Washington, D.C., with Jack and Greer going to a meeting where Jack gets promoted as the assistant director of the CIA. While the climax didn't thrill me, and what do I mean by that? Let's talk about it in a rating. I'll give this movie a 3.5 out of 10. The opening sequence where they introduced the bad guy went nowhere with me, as I don't like the characters in this world, as I didn't like them on the TV show either. But here they come off rather pretentious, while the plot gives me such a hard time following what the fuck is going on throughout, as I had a little trouble following the movie because it makes no sense to me, and the shots are completely terrible, as they're moving the camera quite constantly, in which I can't follow the movie at all. The dialogue written for this is completely clunky, as the acting was super corny, and the conversation between Jack and Greer at the MI6 office was acted rather dreadfully, and the relationship between each character was completely poorly done by the actors, and the storytelling failed at making me understand what the hell is going on with some terrible editing choices. Well, I found myself utterly bored already, and I can't expect a boring Jack Ryan story. This succeeded. The romance between Jack and Emma wasn't earned for me, even though it was not a romance. It was more like a partnership, as I don't want to see them together by the end of the movie. Thank God we didn't, because they have no chemistry whatsoever, and this is a non-recommendation for the movie, as I don't understand the plot nor this movie. When I first saw the movie, I fell asleep, as this is a snooze fest, and I can't believe a Jack Ryan movie made me fall asleep, which this did to me. And at the end of it, the action sequences didn't thrill me, nor the climax, as it's endless, and the movie's a downer to add in the Jack Ryan franchise. But when it comes to John Krasinski, I'm more looking forward to A Quiet Place 3, where hopefully it'll be a better movie than this. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me for coming back with Jack Ryan. And so if we ever get another one, which we'll see. Sorry, sir, I don't dance.